Welcome back F1 2011 fans, this is Jack Acid bringing you the second video of the I Am No Expert series following the career mode in F1 2011. As you can see, I'm starting off with Force India. And we are round 2 in Malaysia. So looking at our last week's results, we were expected to finish 15th and in the end ended up finishing 9th. So a pretty good result to start. And last race was my first race with no race line or brake line, I should say. But I was still using auto transmission. So in this race I'm going to be racing with no line and manual transmission. So I'm not expecting anything pretty here. I've been practicing on qualifying using those settings for a while, but it's always different on race day. And taking a look at the starting grid, we've got Sebastian Vettel on pole position with McLaren right behind him, Webber in P4, and I qualified P10. Adrian Sutil, my teammate, qualified P15. Sergio Perez down to P17. And the bottom part of the grid just doesn't matter. And taking a quick look at my tire strategy, I don't know, my options are at 83%, so not very good. I actually had to push really hard to get into Q3, so it was pretty much by complete luck. So we'll see how long they last. I'm supposed to pit in lap 4, and so it might be a little slippery going in, but shouldn't be too bad. And despite the overcast, there's no rain in the forecast, and it would be kind of cool if the weather forecast wasn't always accurate, like it says 0% but you end up getting some anyway, or be surprised. That'd be a nice touch for 2012, especially in Malaysia, just because it can dump at any second. See how much of a crunch we get down here at the first corner. I'm at P9, taking the outside, hoping to avoid the scrum that bunches up on the inside there. Oh, very slow AI through here. Sweep around, no contact made that I can tell, and up to P6, and competing with Button, and now Webber. So very fast start, a little surprising. Maybe my own ignorance is my friend at this point in time. To P2, and little contact there with Hamilton. But I'm able to hold my line and keep. Looks like Petrov's now behind me. These sweeps are really difficult for me. You will see, just like that. That's going to let Petrov by. And I also, a lot of slowdown there with Petrov. And this corner also catches me off and on. It's really sweet when you can hit it, but again, because I'm learning with the transmission, the manual transmission and no line, it's still a learning process. So consistency will probably not be my forte on this day. And that corner in particular is also tricky for me. Even this sweep right here, sometimes I can't always be consistent with. And this one also, braking point is difficult for me to see, or at least I'm not used to it yet. There's a little bit of elevation change and it's a little tricky. And you can see now the Renault has definitely got the pace over me, but Petrov not pulling away here, which means I can probably get him down here if I don't overshoot. And I do just a bit, and that's going to let the Russian back. So that was an interesting little duel. And it looks like Webber is gaining on me down this front straight. And he was thinking about passing me on the outside, but ran out of room, and there he almost slam right into Petrov. I'm able to maul the curb there to stay ahead, and if I can keep this here up to P3. So looks like I'm going to be dueling with Petrov for a little while here. And you can see I'm the head of the train, so I'm definitely not as fast as people behind me. And my general rule with overtaking against the AI is that if they can pass me on the straight, I let them by every time, but through these corners I'm going to hold my line. But you can see how slow I am through here, and Petrov is right back on me. See if I wide on Clea, and that's going to allow Petrov, and it looks like either Massa or Alonso, one of the Ferraris, is right behind him. And go a little wide there. Petrov not able to exploit, surprisingly. So already in lap 2, feeling some serious pressure. And the big question here is going to be, oh, that's a big distraction. That's going to hurt. Oh, that's very bumpy. Collision with Petrov. And for some reason, I showed no damage. I wonder if I damaged him. You can see I had the off there. And now I'm turning up my fuel mix to make up for time. But somehow, no damage apparent. Even though I do have full damage on. More curb mauling. And now I've got Alonso on me. And I'm going to have to thank my friend Dave, who is the guy who came online, distracted me, had that really bumpy off. And now back on Petrov, able to handle this corner pretty well. And we'll go a little wide there, so... But Petrov is definitely not going to pull away from me if I can keep it on track, which is definitely a big if at this point. And you can see I hit a purple in Sector 1. Yeah, very lucky that there was no damage with that collision. That was a pretty hard collision. And I don't make contact that hard very often, so a little surprised that there was no more damage on that. And Petrov doesn't seem to be hampered by it. As you can see, I go wide on Clea again. Normally I don't have that many problems with that. It's a difficult curve for me to spot coming into it, and sometimes I just brake a little too late. And I'm still definitely learning my gears through here. And it looks like Button has overtaken Alonso. That might have happened back at the hairpin. And now we'll see if he catches up with me here, up through Sunway. Typically shift down to second, and that was obviously a whole lot better than the last time I went through there, when I pretty much should have been black flagged for taking Petrov out, but he seems to be doing okay, I'm doing okay, so we're still going here. And again, I'm pretty wide on that last hairpin, and Button is almost able to make a maneuver on me. But I can't complain. P4, definitely running higher than I would have expected, given that I changed my difficulty settings, and just maul the curb there. Pay for it with some wheel spin. Somehow Button not able to get around me. I must have had just enough of a lead to be able to get away with that, but obviously pretty stupid. I've been getting greedy at that corner the last couple of laps, so I think I had it coming to me. And you can see my fuel has just dropped down to optimal, so I've changed my fuel mix back to normal. I've been running on fast for quite a while. And if you watched the last video in Melbourne, I was able to abuse that rich fuel mix a lot. You can see I do more curb hogging there. And here at Clea, finally able to keep it between the candy stripes, but still very slow comparatively to the AI. At least through that corner. And this bend here is always a mystery. How am I going to handle it? Every lap, I don't know. Not too bad there. Still keeping it a little too low on the gears. Nice little glide there. And we'll see if I can handle Sunway. Looks like I'm going a little wide, and that's going to let Button by. There he goes. So my inconsistencies at Sunway have finally caught up with me. I am coming into pit right now, but just to give Button a little bit of a scare. A little sweep in front of him there. And I'm finally in the pit, and it looks like I'm going to rejoin quite a few people coming in behind me. Pit lane looks very busy, or going to be busy in just a moment, and that might help me in terms of positions. Right now I'm at P9. See how long this pit stop takes. There's not a lot of traffic that I can see. Empty pit lane. Slow release there. AI releasing me really late, even though I was ready. 6.2 seconds on the pit stop. That hurts. But let's see, we're coming out at P12. And of course now I've got really cold tires, so I need to be concerned with how far I can push the car out on the edges. And even though this is my first race with manual gears, relatively comfortable for most of it. Like I said, definitely some areas that I'm not totally comfortable with yet. Very comfortable with that corner there. It's kind of interesting how you play on assist for so long and then you slowly kind of start to peel them away and sort of see, hey, maybe I'm further along than I thought. That was certainly true when I took lines off. I mean, there was a learning curve for sure. But at the same time, I was surprised there were a lot of corners that I would routinely struggle on with the line that all of a sudden weren't difficult at all. And I'm sure that has everything to do with you start paying a lot more attention to the curbs and your entry points more so than the line. You don't really realize that the line is holding you back. So maybe that's why that hasn't been as difficult of a learning curve. Manual gears is definitely tricky just because understanding your speeds at certain corners takes quite a while, and it definitely sets you back in your pace, but it's worth it. I think it's worth it. I'm going to keep on it as long as I can and see how well I do. It definitely helps when you start learning how to downshift to slow down, just to like correct angles that you might be coming in a little too sharp on. That's a big thing that I've noticed. Coming in now into lap 6, racing with Massa out of the pit lane. And actually that's very encouraging to be coming up to P7. I was expecting to fall back closer to P10, but I was able to get in a decent lap there when after my tires got warmed up. And now we're racing with the Ferrari. And the Mercedes Rosberg is close behind, and so that might be what this looks like till the end of the race here. And you really do have to wonder how much longer we'll be seeing Felipe Massa in a Ferrari, at least with how this season started, speaking of Malaysia. And as you can see, Rosberg is right on top of me. See if I can hold him off here at the hairpin. Nice little cut there. Yeah, so if you're interested, I've actually posted some of my thoughts and questions heading into China, the round 3 this weekend. If you're interested, you can check it out on my website, ApexHead.com, and it's listed under the commentary category. I don't typically write a lot on sports, but I get especially excited when Formula 1 season comes along. Thinking about starting like a power rankings, a driver power rankings. I thought that'd be kind of interesting. You can see Rosberg is competing with me down the back straight, able to hold him off. Still a little wide on this hairpin. He's not able to take the inside. And we've got 5 laps to go. Looks like he's going to challenge again down the front straight. Got a little more room this time, able to get by. And I'm upping my fuel mix. I've been running with the medium mix for about 2 laps or so. So I'm going to go ahead and start pushing on my tank and see if I can build up some steam to keep Rosberg back and finish with some points here. The other thing that I'll be posting along with these videos is I'm tracking what the AI is doing from race to race just because I'm kind of curious how it'll look. Sort of interested if there's any consistency between the teams or if there's any tier systems. Just sort of, I don't know, a pet project on top of another pet project, I guess is the easiest way to put it. So you can check those out also at my website. And Rosberg is just grinding on me now. Oh god, huge curb surfing, no warning somehow. There's something fishy about the rules and damage or something on this race. I've had a pretty significant collision with no visible damage that I'm aware of. And also that was a serious curb hop. And now I'm really feeling the pressure here. Oh, almost take out the pylon. Go a little wide. And now Rosberg is going to challenge me down the straight again. But look at this. I'm able to actually keep ahead of him. Here he comes. And I'm turning down my fuel mix because I am concerned about getting through the rest of the race. Because my gas gauge is being pretty fickle right now. And with 4 laps to go, looks like I'm about 2.5 seconds behind Massa. Here comes Rosberg on the inside, but he has to back off. Able to choke off the apex there. Hopefully stay ahead of him. Get a little greedy on that curb there. And you can see there's about 4 cars behind me. That's probably realistically where I should finish, is around P10, P11. But for right now, oh, take this a little wide. And that's the worst I've taken that corner the whole race, and it almost cost me, but I'm able to stay ahead of the Mercedes. And you can see Rosberg hassling me through these really fast sweeps. I actually have a hard time holding my line through there, and you can see that Rosberg had to back off and twitched a little bit, but it looks like he was able to stay in P8. And I'm sure that we'll continue to have oh so much fun heading down the last few laps here. And you can see my sector times falling off now. And barring any unforeseen accidents or, I don't know, possibly back markers or something like that, this will probably end up being the final order of the race, P7. I would be thrilled if this held as I shave the pylon and go wide. And now we'll see if Rosberg's finally able to pull the trigger down this back straight. He's right behind me, but can't seem to get around me for some reason. I do wonder if that's related to the difficulty. Again, I'm running on professional difficulty, and I wonder what expert would look like, or legendary there.
We've only got a few laps left to pass this guy, so if you're going to do it, it needs to be soon.
And as my engineer is saying that, I see that Massa is just over 3 seconds ahead of me. Of course, that's a little bit skewed because of the fact that he was coming down the main straight while I was getting up to speed there. But again, I think it would take something pretty dramatic to have an opportunity to get up into P6. And of course, that's assuming that I even retain 7th position here. You can see how much time I lose in these corners. You can see, if you watch the map, you can see Rosberg and the 2 cars behind him just coil up into me on these corners. And I'm definitely feeling the pressure now. And Rosberg almost had a chance to pass me on the inside, and now he's making a move on the inside, but not going to make it as long as I don't go wide, which I do not. And this is one of my least favorite corners under pressure. And you can see why I go wide. Rosberg not able to get around, not this time. And he is just swaying back and forth behind me, trying desperately to get around me. And as long as I can keep it on here. Fortunately saved one of my best attempts at that corner for last. But here comes Rosberg. And now I'm going to turn up my fuel mix. I'm probably going to try and ride that out till the end of the race. Oh, no contact, but that was definitely close. You can tell by the indicator. And trying to pull away here.
Rosberg's falling back. Your lap times are slightly better than his. Keep it up.
And that's some words of encouragement from my engineer. And you can see the marbles starting to collect along the outside of the racing line. And that's one of the first things that just blew me away about this game. I didn't know much about Formula One before I got 2010. And just the level of detail with the tire degradation and the marbles and the temperature of the track heating up as the weekend went on and sessions went on. I was just so impressed with that. And it's really what's made me stick with this series and be so dedicated to it, is just the level of strategy and things to consider, on top of the fact that you're screaming down these tarmacs at, 200 plus miles an hour. And Massa is almost 5 seconds ahead of me, so clearly well out of my range. Rosberg right behind me, just under a half a second, so he's going to have a couple more chances to pass me in the DRS zone. And Rosberg having a very good drive. He qualified 14th, so already up to P8, assuming that I can hold him off here. And you can see that I turned down my fuel mix just for this last hairpin before the final lap. I'll be turning that back up. Won't be worrying about the fuel for one last lap. Should be okay. And now Rosberg's going to have an opportunity to pass me on the inside. Turn my fuel mix back up. See if I can get him at the braking point, and I do. And so speaking of qualifying versus race result, I'm going to be tracking the AI from race to race in terms of expected result versus final result. And in other words, if the qualifying position is the expectation, then the final race result equals the actual. So I want to see which drivers are able to take advantage of their qualifying position and those who basically have a hard time hanging on. And you'll be able to find those driver power rankings as well as the data analysis between qualifying and race result also on my website, ApexHead.com. And I just noticed that looks like Massa, who was running 6th, was able to overtake Petrov, so he'll finish in the top 5. And he started off qualified 8th, so he was able to move up just a few positions here. Looks like he'll have about the same grid change as myself. Looks like I'll be 3 places up on where I qualified, so that's good news. Pretty impressed that I'm able to finish this high. Given this is my first race with manual gears, I really expected to have more problems. You can see my tires are falling off, and as long as I don't go wide at this hairpin, Rosberg will have no hope. Kiss the crown of the apex there. And into the final straight, and that'll do it. So 6 more points for my first season here with Force India. And it'll be interesting to see how much momentum this gives me heading into China. Not an overwhelmingly exciting race, but that's okay. Just kind of benchmarking my abilities. Let's take a look at the results here. We know that Vettel finished P1 and McLaren right behind him, and Webber also maintained in position 4. Of course, I finished P7. And looks like Alonso was able to finish in the points, Sergio Perez up to 11th, and my teammate Adrian Sutil finished 16th. So I'm going to leave you guys with a handful of highlights from the race. I want to thank you again for listening. This is Jack Acid signing off, and I'll see you guys in round 3 in Shanghai.